I wake up at 9 o'clock on Thanksgiving morning to something wrong. Silence. The Kessler family house, our 5-bedroom monument to middle-class aspiration, is never silent on Thanksgiving. Mom should be downstairs already. The kitchen filled with the rich aroma of roasting turkey. Dad should be planted in front of the TV volume cranked too high on the Macy's parade. Corbin and Sloan should be bickering over who gets the good bathroom first, but there's nothing. Just the faint hum of the heating system clicking on. I sit up, run a hand through my tangled hair, and listen harder. No cabinets opening and closing, no water running, no footsteps on the stairs. Hello? My voice sounds strange in the stillness. When no one answers, a flicker of unease ripples through me. I grab my phone from the nightstand. No messages, no missed calls, nothing to explain the wrongness of this morning. I swing my legs over the side of the bed, suddenly wide, awake. The hardwood floor feels cold against my bare feet as I pad to the hallway. Mom. Dad. I call out louder this time. The doors to my siblings' rooms stand open, beds empty and hastily made, not slept in at all by the look of them. Downstairs the kitchen is spotless. No turkey thawing on the counter. No ingredients lined up for stuffing or cranberry sauce. Just my coffee mug from last night, sitting alone in the otherwise empty sink. I walk to the front window and pull back the curtain. The driveway is empty. All the cars are gone. My parents' sedan. Corbin's beat-up Jeep. Even the 7-seater SUV I filled with gas yesterday for our planned drive to Uncle Dean's house. A ridiculous thought flashes through my mind. Maybe they ran out for cranberries or another last-minute ingredient, but the house doesn't feel like they just stepped out. It feels cold, abandoned. I grab my phone again, pull up my mother's contact. It's gone. My father's number, gone too. I scroll frantically through my contacts. Corbin, Sloan, even Rhett, all deleted. What the hell? I mutter, my heartbeat quickening. Then I remember last night Rhett borrowing my phone. Hey sis, can I check the score real quick? My phone's dead. 19 years old and still can't remember to charge his phone. I'd handed it over without a second thought. Clever but not clever enough. Rhett isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He deleted the entries but didn't block the numbers. I still have our call history and I know most of their numbers by heart anyway, but Uncle Dean's I know for sure. I tap it in and hit call, pacing the kitchen as it rings. Hello? His voice sounds relaxed, cheerful. Uncle Dean, it's Krista. Where is everyone? A pause. Krista. Oh, you're still home. Something in his voice makes my stomach drop. And then I hear it in the background, the rhythmic sound of waves crashing against a shore. Somewhere distant, the faint, unmistakable plucking of a ukulele. Where are you? I ask, though I already know the answer isn't his New England colonial with the massive dining room table we were supposed to gather around today. Ah. His voice drops. Well, your parents wanted a big surprise for their 30th anniversary. They all flew to Maui last night. I grip the counter, my knuckles turning white. All of them. They figured you were busy with work, he continues, sounding uncomfortable now. And well, they didn't want you to worry about the expense. The expense. The expense for the vacation they're taking with money I've been pouring into this house for years. Before I can respond, I hear a voice in the background. Sloan. God, are you talking to her? I thought the plan was to just let her stay home. Uncle Dean makes a shushing sound, but it's too late. I've heard enough. Krista, he starts. I end the call. The kitchen feels colder now as I stand, motionless, my phone clutched in my hand. This wasn't some last-minute prank. This was planned, orchestrated. They deleted my contacts. They snuck out in the night. They left me behind deliberately. My gaze drifts to the calendar on the fridge where I'd circled today's date and written Thanksgiving at Uncle Dean's in my neat handwriting. Next to it, the list of chores I'd completed to get ready. Clean guest bathroom, gas up SUV, pick up wine. This wasn't a prank. This was deliberate, malicious financial exclusion. They wanted a luxury vacation using the money I paid for the mortgage, and they didn't want me there. I wait for tears, for the crushing weight of betrayal to bring me to my knees, but it doesn't come. Instead, something strange happens. A crystalline clarity washes over me. Every moment of the last 6 years, every check I've written, every bill I've paid, every sacrifice I've made while my siblings took snaps into sudden, perfect focus. I don't cry. I don't scream. I don't throw things. I just stand in the silent kitchen of a house that isn't really mine, feeling something final click into place inside me. I am done. The phone clicks dead in my hand. Uncle Dean's voice and Sloane's careless complaint fade into silence, but their echoes remain ricocheting through my mind like stray bullets. I sink into a chair at the empty kitchen table, my coffee mug from last night, still sitting in the sink, the only evidence anyone lives here at all. The house feels cavernous now, each empty room mocking me with its silence. 6 years. The number materializes in my mind with perfect clarity. 6 years of being the invisible pillar. 6 years of watching my paycheck disappear into this 5-bedroom monument to middle-class pretension, all while being told I was the responsible one. I was 20 when I moved back home after community college. Mark's dad had just been demoted. The mortgage payments were temporarily difficult. Mom had explained eyes wide with practiced worry. Just until they got back on their feet. 6 years later, and Dad's job still barely covers the car insurance and his hobbies. His fishing trips, his golf clubs, his collection of vintage model cars that sit untouched in glass cases in the basement. The total mortgage $2,800 a month. My contribution, $2,000. Their contribution, $800. The math burns in my mind bright and undeniable. I pull out my phone, open the calculator app, and punch in the numbers with methodical precision. $2,000 times 72 months equals $144,000. $144,000 gone, not invested, not saved, not even appreciated. Meanwhile, Corbin, 28, and supposedly the entrepreneur of the family, has lived here rent-free since his $50,000 startup crashed and burned 2 years ago. $50,000 that Mom and Dad had somehow found for him, even as I was writing checks for new gutters and property taxes. And Sloane, 22, and attending Riverdale Private College, her $38,000 annual tuition and sorority dues, paid without question. Your sister needs to focus on her studies, Mom had explained when I'd asked why Sloane couldn't work part-time like I had. The responsible one-family code for the ATM. The numbness from the phone call begins to fade, replaced by something colder, quieter. Not anger. Anger would be too hot, too messy. This is something else, something final. I'm done. The word settles in my chest like a stone. Done. They left me. But they left me in the house I paid for, connected to the utilities I managed. They assumed I would just wait and keep paying. For what? The privilege of being excluded, the honor of funding Maui vacations I wasn't invited to. I don't throw things. I don't scream. Those reactions would give them too much power. Confirm their whispered assessments that I'm too emotional or can't take a joke. Instead, I walk to my home office, the smallest bedroom, the one with the water stain on the ceiling that no one else wanted. I pull open the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet and extract a 3-inch binder. Its weight substantial in my hands. 6 years of receipts. 6 years of bank statements. 6 years of warranties for appliances and electronics I purchased when the old ones broke down. 6 years of evidence. I carry the binder to the kitchen table and open my laptop. But I don't book a flight to Maui. I don't compose an angry email. I don't even check social media to see if they've posted sunny photos from the beach yet. I Google local moving companies' immediate availability. Several options appear, but most are closed for the holiday weekend. One company, however, advertises a premium holiday emergency move service. Their rates are double the normal price. I dial the number. Reliable movers, this is Troy. Hi, Troy. I need to move out of my current residence tomorrow morning. Is that possible? Troy sounds surprised but professional. Yes, ma'am, but I should warn you, our holiday rates are... That's fine. I cut in. I'll need a truck large enough for several major appliances and furniture pieces. We can handle that. 8 a.m. work for you. Perfect. I hang up and look around the kitchen. The high-end front-loading washer and dryer I bought last year after Sloan complained the old ones were gross. The 4-door smart fridge I purchased when the original one died during a heat wave. The $900 espresso machine Corbin and Sloan use every morning without ever buying a single bag of coffee. All in my name, all paid for with my money. They wanted to talk about expenses. Let's talk about expenses. I opened my laptop again and searched for studio apartments within a 30-minute drive of my office. Something becomes available next week, but I find a complex offering immediate move-in for an additional fee. I make the call, put down the deposit, and schedule the lease signing for tomorrow afternoon. Next, I create a detailed inventory of everything I've purchased for this house. The 80-inch 4K TV from the living room, my $2,500 bonus from last year, the high-speed Wi-Fi router and mesh system, the new dishwasher. Item by item, I catalog what's mine. Not in anger, not in vengeance, in simple cold accounting. 7 days, I think. They'll be gone for 7 days. When they return, expecting the comfort they've always taken for granted, expecting me to have maintained their lives in their absence, they'll find something very different waiting for them. I run my fingers over the binder, feeling the plastic cover cool and smooth beneath my touch. 6 years of being the responsible one. 6 years of being the invisible, foundation that everyone stands on but no one sees. I close the binder. I've been responsible long enough. The moving truck arrives at 8 o'clock the next morning. I stand in the driveway, my 3-inch binder tucked under my arm like a shield, watching 3 men in matching blue uniforms climb out. The logo on their truck, Premium Holiday Relocations, cost me triple the normal rate. Worth every penny. Miss Kessler. The foreman approaches, clipboard in hand. We're ready when you are. I nod, opening my binder to the tab section marked Purchases. Let's start in the living room. Inside, I point to the 80-inch 4K TV mounted on the wall. That comes down first. The foreman raises an eyebrow at the massive screen. Nice TV. My $2,500 bonus from last March, I say, tapping the receipt in my binder. The paper is crisp, preserved in a plastic sleeve. The bracket stays. It came with the house. The men work with practiced efficiency. One disconnects cables, while 2 others carefully unmount the TV. In less than 10 minutes, they're wrapping it in protective blankets. I move through the house like a general binder open, pointing out each item. This isn't an emotional rampage. It's inventory management. The washer and dryer in the laundry room, I say, leading them down the hall. I bought them after Sloan complained the old ones were gross. I remember her exact words. God, Krista, these machines are from the Stone Age. Can't we get something that doesn't look like it belongs in a gas station bathroom? In the kitchen, the foreman whistles at the massive stainless steel refrigerator. 4-door smart fridge. That's going to be tricky. It's empty, I assure him. Last night I'd thrown out everything perishable and packed the rest in coolers now sitting in my car. And I've already disconnected the water line. They remove the refrigerator with careful precision, leaving a gaping hole in the custom cabinetry. The $900 espresso machine is next. I watch as they wrap it, remembering how Corbin and Sloan would use it every morning, leaving their empty cups scattered around the house. Not once in 3 years had either of them bought coffee beans. That was always my job, like everything else. Wi-Fi router and mesh system, I say, pointing to the sleek devices. All 4 nodes throughout the house. The ones that powered Corbin's endless job searches and Sloan's Instagram empire. Room by room, the house empties of everything that's mine. The movers work quickly, professionally, asking few questions. I answer the ones they do ask with calm precision. No, that stays. Yes, that goes. Careful with that, it's fragile. By noon, the truck is half full, and the house already feels different. Hollowness lighter. With each item that leaves a weight lifts from my shoulders. The ghosts that have haunted me, expectations, obligations, guilt, seem to fade with every empty space created. Taking a break for lunch, ma'am, the foreman tells me. I nod and walk through the quieter house while they eat in their truck. My footsteps echo on the hardwood floors now that the area rugs, also mine, are gone. In the living room, the wall looks naked without the TV. In the kitchen, the refrigerator's absence reveals years of dust and a single magnet that had fallen behind it. A Hawaiian sunset from some previous family vacation I hadn't been invited to. This isn't destruction, I remind myself. This is reclamation. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they've loaded everything that's mine. I stand in the driveway signing the paperwork as they secure the truck. Address for delivery, the foreman asks. I give him the information for my new studio apartment. The lease started yesterday, paid 3 months in advance. After they leave, I return to the house. The emptiness is jarring, but satisfying. I pull out my phone and start recording, walking from room to room, documenting the condition of the property. No damage to the walls where the TV hung. No scratches on the floors where the furniture slid out. No dents in the door frames. Evidence just in case. In the kitchen, I open cabinets that now hold only the mismatched mugs and cheap plates my parents had before I started upgrading our home. The pantry contains just the basics. My father's sugary cereals, my mother's diet crackers, the chai coffee no one actually drinks. Upstairs, I enter what was my bedroom. The bed remains, but the premium mattress I bought last year is gone, leaving just the cheap box spring that came with the house. My dresser is gone. My bookshelf is gone. I sit cross-legged on the floor, open my laptop, and begin making calls. First to the power company. Yes, I need to cancel service at 1342 Oakwood Lane, I say, voice steady. The account is under Krista Kessler. May I ask why you're canceling, Miss Kessler? The representative asks. I'm moving. Simple, truthful. I see. There will be a final reading tomorrow, and service will be disconnected by 5 p.m. Is there a forwarding address for the final bill? I provide my new address, then make the same call to the water company, and another to cancel the internet service that powered our whole smart home system. Each representative is professionally indifferent to my decision. By 6 p.m., I've made all the calls. Every utility will be shut off within 48 hours before my family returns from their Hawaiian paradise. Night falls. The house is dark except for the single lamp I've left plugged in my room. I shower in the now empty bathroom, dry myself with the one towel I kept out of my luggage, and sleep on a blanket on the floor of my old bedroom. In the morning, I load my remaining bags into my car. I've left nothing behind that's truly mine. In the kitchen, I place my house keys on the counter. Beside them, I stack the new unpaid utility bills I collected from the mailbox yesterday. All addressed to Mark and Brenda Kessler. All services they've enjoyed without thought because I handled them. I take one last look around the empty house. 6 years of my life. $2,000 a month. $144,000. I lock the door from the inside, step out, and pull it shut behind me with a satisfying click. In my car, I check the time. 6 days until they return from Maui. 6 days until they discover what responsibility actually costs. Tick-tock, I whisper, as I drive away, heading toward my new, much smaller, infinitely more peaceful home. 6 days later, the family is back. I'm sitting in my new studio apartment when my phone buzzes with a notification from the Ring doorbell app I never deleted. A final loose end I deliberately left untied. The app shows the Kesslers have returned, dragging oversized suitcases up the front walk. Their faces are tanned. Their shoulders slumped with travel fatigue. Brenda clutches a pineapple-shaped souvenir. Mark fumbles with his keys. Sloan and Corbin trail behind, still wearing their matching aloha shirts. Rhett brings up the rear, his neck ringed with a plastic lei. I take a sip of my coffee, turn the volume up on my phone, and watch. Honey Brenda calls as Mark finally gets the door to open. Don't forget the light switch is finicky. They disappear inside. I count down in my head. 3, 2, 1. Mark Brenda's voice filters through the Ring's microphone. The lights aren't working. Hang on. Mark replies, his voice growing fainter as he moves away from the door. Let me check the breaker. A minute passes. The door remains open, spilling their conversation onto the porch, where the Ring camera captures every word. "Nothing's working," Mark calls back. "Power's out." "Did you forget to pay the bill?" Brenda asks, irritation edging into her voice. "Me? You handle the utilities." I smile as I imagine them standing in the dark hallway, jet-lagged and confused. Corbin pushes past them, phone flashlight activated. His beam sweeps across the living room, then stops. "Dad." His voice rises an octave. "Where's the TV?" The flashlight beam jerks around wildly now, illuminating empty spaces where furniture used to be. "What the hell?" Mark's heavy footsteps pound across the floor. Sloane screams from the kitchen. The fridge is gone. Everything's gone. I watch as they spill back onto the front porch, faces pale in the dying November sunlight. Brenda's hands shake as she clutches at Mark's sleeve. "Someone broke in," she gasps. "Call 911. Mark fumbles his phone from his pocket, fingers trembling as he dials. I watch his face contort as he explains the situation to the dispatcher, describing a robbery in progress. Corbin paces the porch, his own phone gripped tightly in his hand. His brow furrows as something occurs to him. "The Ring camera," he says suddenly. "We can check the footage." Of course Corbin would think of that. The tech guy of the family who couldn't even launch a successful startup with $50,000 of funding. I take another sip of my coffee as I watch him tap at his phone, accessing the same app I'm currently using. I know the exact moment he finds the footage from 3 days ago. His face drains of color, mouth dropping open. She took everything," he stammers. The others crowd around his phone. I can picture the video playing on his screen. Me, clipboard in hand, directing the movers as they carefully load the 80-inch TV, the smart fridge, the washer and dryer, the espresso machine. All documented, all organized, all mine. "Krista did this." Brenda's voice breaks on my name. "But why would she?" "Because she's crazy," Sloane cuts in. "I told you she was getting weird." Mark takes the phone from Corbin, watching the footage with narrowing eyes. When he looks up, his face is rigid with fury. "She can't do this," he growls. "This is our house." I set my phone down on the coffee table of my new apartment and walk to the window. Outside, the November sunset paints the sky in shades of orange and purple. My studio is small, but the light here is beautiful. Clean. Mine. My phone starts buzzing again. Not the Ring app this time, but actual calls. One after another. The same numbers over and over. No contact names attached. I pick it up and look at the screen. 52 missed calls in the span of 10 minutes. Then the texts start flowing in from my mother's number. "Krista, call me. Where are you? The house was robbed." I set the phone face down on the table and make myself a fresh cup of coffee. The buzzing continues, persistent as a trapped wasp as I move around my small kitchen. I take my time measuring the grounds with precision, waiting for the water to reach the perfect temperature. When I return to the window with my steaming cup, a police car is pulling up in front of my building. Behind it, my father's sedan screeches to a halt, double parking in his haste. They pile out Mark, Brenda, Corbin, Sloane, and Rhett, a gesticulating mass of righteous indignation as they follow the 2 officers into my building. My intercom buzzes 3 minutes later. "Ms. Kessler." The front desk attendant's voice is professionally neutral. "There are police officers here asking to speak with you. They say your family is with them." I take a long, slow breath, savoring the moment. 6 years of paying for a house that was never mine. 6 years of being the invisible pillar, the responsible one, the family ATM. 6 years of swallowing my resentment as they took and took and took. The moment has arrived. The trap I set has sprung perfectly. "Ma'am, the police are here." The attendant prompts when I don't immediately respond. "With your family?" "Get." I set my coffee cup down and cross to my desk. My hand comes to rest on the 3-inch binder filled with receipts, warranties, and bank statements. 6 years of meticulous documentation. 6 years of evidence. Tell the policeman only they can come in. Reply. I pick up the binder, feeling its reassuring weight in my hands. I don't rush. This moment belongs to me. The knock comes at exactly 4:17 p.m. Two sharp raps, official and unyielding. I've been expecting this since the building manager called. Ma'am, your family downstairs is claiming you've stolen their television and appliances. The officer's voice is neutral professional. He's young, maybe 30, with close-cropped hair and a name tag reading Officer Brennan. His partner, older with salt and pepper hair, stands slightly behind, watching my face for a reaction. I don't give him one. Please come in, I say, stepping back from my apartment door. I have coffee. The studio is small but immaculate. My 80-inch TV dominates one wall. The espresso machine gleams on the counter. Everything I took, everything that was mine, fits perfectly in this space. I've been waiting for this moment for 9 days. Black or cream? I ask, pouring from the carafe. Black. Thank you. Officer Brennan says, his eyes scanning the apartment. I hand him the mug, then reach for my 3-inch binder sitting ready on the counter. The weight of it is reassuring in my hands. 6 years of meticulous documentation. 6 years of receipts, bank statements, and warranties, all organized by date, item, and payment method. This should clarify things, I say, handing him the binder. The lead officer takes it, balancing his coffee in one hand. He flips it open, his expression unchanging as he turns the plastic-protected pages. He pauses at the invoice for the TV. This is the television they're referring to, the 80-inch 4K. Yes, I reply. Purchased with my year-end bonus, $2,500 plus tax. He nods, flipping more pages. His finger traces down a highlighted bank statement, then stops at a warranty card with my name printed clearly on it. He finds the bill of sale for the fridge, pauses at the washer. And dryer documentation, raises an eyebrow at the espresso machine receipt. The older officer leans in, murmuring something I can't hear. Officer Brennan nods, then closes the binder. Everything appears to be in your name, Ms. Kessler, he says, handing it back. His eyes meet mine, and I see something shift there, a reassessment. Ma'am, do you want us to file a harassment report on your behalf? The question hangs in the air between us. 6 years of silent contribution, 6 years of being the responsible one, the ATM. 6 years of watching Corbin waste $50,000 on a startup that never started up. 6 years of Sloane's private college tuition and sorority dues being paid without question, while I covered mortgage payments that should have been my parents' responsibility. No, I say finally. That won't be necessary. He nods, understanding in his eyes. We'll take care of it. Thank you for the coffee. I don't follow them to the door. I don't need to watch what happens next. Through my open window, I hear the commotion 3 floors down. My father's voice rising in indignation. My mother's tearful protests. It's a civil matter. Officer Brennan's voice carries up clearly. She has provided documentation of ownership for all items in question. You need to leave the property now or be cited for trespassing. Silence follows. Then the slam of car doors. I close my window. 3 weeks later, I'm pushing my cart through the produce section of Greenway Market when I spot them. Corbin and Sloane huddled near the organic apples, scanning the store, waiting for me. I consider abandoning my half-filled cart, but something hardened inside me weeks ago hasn't softened. I push forward. Sloane spots me first, her eyes narrowing. At 22, she looks older suddenly. The privilege and certainty drained from her face. This isn't funny, Krista, she hisses as I reach for a bag of Honeycrisp apples. Mom is crying every day. You need to fix this. I place the apples in my cart, moving past her without response. Corbin steps into my path. His usually perfect hair is uncombed, his designer shirt wrinkled. Just turn the internet back on, he says, desperation edging his voice. How am I supposed to apply for jobs? You've gone too far. I look at my 28-year-old brother, really. Look at him. The failed entrepreneur, the eternal student, the perpetual child. You're 28, Corbin. I say the words falling like stones between us. Get your own Wi-Fi. I push my cart past them, their protests fading behind me. The weight of the binder isn't in my hands anymore, but I feel lighter all the same. 2 months later, a manila envelope arrives at my door. Inside, a summons to small claims court. They're suing me for $5,000 in emotional damages and stolen property. My mother's signature on the complaint form is shaky but determined. They tried everything else. This is their last stand. The courtroom is smaller than I expected, with worn wooden benches and fluorescent lights that buzz overhead. My parents sit across the aisle, not looking at me. Corbin and Sloan aren't here. Perhaps they couldn't be bothered to wake up in time for the 9 a.m. hearing. Kessler versus Kessler, the clerk calls. We approach the bench. My father speaks, first a carefully rehearsed speech about family obligations and property rights. He mentions the house, their house, and how I abandoned them without warning. He talks about the difficulties they've faced without proper appliances, about the emotional toll about my theft of family items. When he finishes, the judge turns to me. And your response, Ms. Kessler? I don't speak. Instead, I place my 3-inch binder on his desk. The sound it makes is final, definitive. He opens it, frowning slightly at first, then with increasing interest as he turns the pages. 5 minutes pass in silence as he reviews bank statements, receipts, and utility bills in my name. Mr. Kessler, he says finally. Closing the binder. These items appear to be legally purchased and owned by your daughter. Furthermore, I see evidence here that she contributed $2,000 monthly toward your mortgage for 6 years while living in your home. Is that correct? My father shifts uncomfortably. Well, yes, but... And you're claiming she stole property that she herself purchased. It was for the family, my mother interjects. She can't just take it. The judge's expression hardens. Mrs. Kessler, I suggest you not speak out of turn. He turns back to my father. This case is dismissed. And Mr. Kessler, I would caution you about bringing frivolous claims to this court. There are penalties for perjury. The gavel comes down with a crack that echoes through the small courtroom. My parents don't look at me as they leave. I gather my binder and walk out alone into the cold air. I don't look back. I don't need to. 4 months later, I'm sitting on the small balcony of my studio apartment. The air is cold against my skin, but I don't mind. I wrap my fingers around a steaming mug of coffee, the expensive kind Corbin used to drain from my machine without ever buying a replacement bag. My apartment isn't much. 400 square feet that would fit inside the Kessler family living room with space to spare. But every inch of it is mine. Every utility bill has only my name on it. The silence here isn't the hollow absence of people who should be present. It's peace earned and protected. Uncle Dean called last week. He waited until he knew I'd be home from work, his voice careful when I answered. The house is gone, he said without preamble. Foreclosed after 3 months. They couldn't make the payments. I took a sip of tea, letting the information settle. Where are they living now? 2-bedroom rental across town. Mark and Brenda took the master. Brett's on the couch. Sloan and Corbin are sharing the 2nd bedroom. He paused. Sloan had to leave Westlake. She's at community college now. Westlake University, $45,000 a year in tuition alone. Sorority dues on top of that. All while I quietly transferred $2,000 to my parents' account every month for 6 years. Krista, they're really struggling. Uncle Dean said, his voice dropping into that guilt-inducing register families perfect over generations. Did they ask you to call me? Not exactly, but... Then they're not struggling enough, I replied, surprised by my own steadiness. They'll figure it out. They're adults. The consequences arrived like dominoes falling. The 2-bedroom apartment, Sloan's transfer, my father having to find an actual full-time job for the first time in 15 years. My mother selling her jewelry on Facebook Marketplace. Reality crashing down on people who thought they could fly forever on someone else's wings. I take another sip of coffee, watching the sun climb higher. My phone buzzes with a notification. LinkedIn. I tap the screen. Corbin Kessler has sent you a message. I open it with mild curiosity. Hey, sis. Hope you're doing well. Listen, I've got an interview at Meridian Tech next week. Any chance you could be a reference? You know how reliable I am when I put my mind to something. I stare at the message, my finger hovering over the screen. 28 years old, and still convinced the world owes him a cushioned landing. I click ignore, then block his profile for good measure. 4 months ago, I woke up in a cold, silent house abandoned by the people who should have been there. I remember standing in that kitchen, moment everything crystallized, the soft click of realization like a lock turning. Now I sit in my own space, smaller but infinitely more honest. My bills are reasonable because I only pay for what I need. My shelves hold books I actually read. My refrigerator contains food only I eat. People ask if I ever feel guilty. Former coworkers who heard through the grapevine. The few friends who know the whole story. They want to know if I wonder whether I went too far. If I think about my family struggling in their cramped apartment while I sit here with my expensive coffee maker and my quiet mornings, I take a final sip, letting the rich flavor linger on my tongue. No, I don't. For the first time in my life, the silence is actually mine. Story 2. The Montgomery estate smells like pine and cinnamon, but it might as well be formaldehyde. I stand in the center of the living room, my fingers gripping a cream-colored gift box wrapped in silk ribbon, and I can't stop staring at what's inside. A lifetime V. IP. Membership to Last Chance. Love an app explicitly marketed to desperate singles over 30. And beneath it, a hardcover book with raised gold lettering, How to Find Happiness When You Die Alone. The fire roars in the marble fireplace behind me. Outside the French windows, snow falls in thick silent sheets, blanketing the manicured grounds. But inside this room, the cold has nothing to do with December weather. Bella giggles. The sound is high and sharp, echoing off the veined ceiling like breaking glass. I saw it on TikTok. My sister says her voice dripping with false sweetness. The reviews were amazing. 5 stars for women who've given up on traditional dating. I don't look up. I keep staring at that horrible pink app card at the cartoon illustration of a wilting flower that's supposed to represent women like me. Women who've supposedly expired. Take it, dear. My mother's voice cuts through the room. Trinity Montgomery sits perched on the ivory settee, her posture so rigid she could be carved from the same marble as the fireplace. Bella's just worried about your future. Don't let your ego turn you into a spinster forever. My father says nothing. Richard Montgomery stands near the bar cart, swirling bourbon in a crystal tumbler, studying the amber liquid like it holds answers he's not interested in sharing with me. His business partner, Harrison Sterling, shifts uncomfortably in the leather armchair beside him. Preston Sterling, Bella's fiancé, examines his phone with sudden intense focus. I close the box slowly. My hands don't shake, though. Something inside my chest feels like it's cracking open. 8 months. It's been 8 months since I sent those invitations. Since I spent 3 evenings at my dining table in Austin, selecting the perfect cardstock, tying velvet ribbons by hand. 300 grams weight. The kind that whispers quality when you hold it. Nate had watched me from the doorway. His arms crossed, his expression careful. "Are you sure you don't need to call them?" he'd asked. I'd smoothed another ribbon, my fingers working the silk into a perfect bow. They're my parents. They wouldn't miss this. The memory sits in my throat like a stone. I delayed the ceremony for 30 minutes, staring at those 2 empty chairs in the front row, reserved for Dad, reserved for Mom. The signs I'd painted myself on small wooden plaques decorated with wildflowers because my mother had once mentioned she liked daisies. That was 7 years ago. But I remember everything they forgot. Well, Bella leans forward on the sofa, her blonde hair cascading over one shoulder in a calculated tumble. Her engagement ring catches the firelight. A 3-carat diamond that cost more than my entire wedding. Aren't you going to say thank you? The words stick in my throat. Part of me wants to scream. Part of me wants to run out those massive oak doors like I've done so many times before. Drive back to the airport. Fly home to Austin, where Nate is probably heating up leftover Thai food and wondering if I'm okay. But I'm so tired of running. Harrison Sterling clears his throat. Perhaps we should move on to dinner, he suggests, his voice carefully neutral. I believe the caterers have everything ready in the dining room. Bella's smirk widens. She knows she's won this round. She always does. Except this time, something inside me doesn't break. It snaps. Not my heart, which has been breaking in this house since I was old enough to understand that some children are treasured and others are tolerated. No, what snaps is something harder. The chains I've been dragging around for 29 years. The ones labeled good daughter and second best. And maybe if you try harder. I look up, my eyes meet Bella's, and I watch her triumphant expression falter just slightly. There's something in my face she doesn't recognize. Something cold and clean and final. Thank you, Bella, I say. My voice comes out smooth, almost pleasant. I'll keep this very carefully. I tuck the box under my arm, holding it against my ribs like evidence because that's exactly what it is. Trinity frowns. Caroline, don't be dramatic. It's just a thoughtful gift. Oh, I know. I smile. The expression feels strange on my face, like I'm wearing someone else's mouth. It's very thoughtful, very valuable. Richard finally looks at me, his gray eyebrows drawing together. Caroline, it's a warning. The same tone he used when I was 16, and suggested that maybe, just maybe, Bella shouldn't get a BMW for her first car when I'd received a 10-year-old Honda. The tone that means, don't make a scene, don't embarrass us, don't exist too loudly in spaces meant for your sister to shine. I hold his gaze. Yes, Dad. He opens his mouth, closes, it turns back to his bourbon. Preston Sterling stands abruptly, shoving his phone into his jacket pocket. I need some air, he mutters, and walks toward the French doors leading to the terrace. Bella's smile finally cracks. Preston, it's freezing out there. Preston hesitates at the terrace doors, the cold air blowing in, before turning back with a resigned sigh to join the procession to the dining room. But he's already gone, and I understand something in that moment. He's uncomfortable. He should be. Any decent person would be. Shall we? Harrison gestures toward the dining room, his discomfort palpable in the tight set of his shoulders. The dining room chandelier throws diamond patterns across the white linen tablecloth. Trinity taps her spoon against her crystal water glass, the sound cutting through the murmur of polite conversation like a blade. Before we begin, my mother announces, her voice pitched for an audience. I want to toast this very special season, the year of the bride. I watch Bella straighten in her chair, her practiced smile blooming across her face like she's been waiting for this cue her entire life. My youngest daughter, Trinity, continues gesturing toward Bella with her wine glass. We'll be married this February in what I can only describe as a modern, royal event. 300 guests. The ballroom at the Four Seasons, a dress that took 6 months to design. Preston shifts beside Bella, his jaw tight. Harrison Sterling studies his salad fork with the intensity of an archaeologist examining an artifact. Bella has always known how to do things properly. Trinity says, and the word properly lands on my skin like a slap. With grace, with consideration for family. My father lifts his bourbon in agreement. He hasn't looked at me since we sat down. I cut into my filet mignon. The knife slides through the meat with barely any resistance, but my hand feels welded to the handle. Trinity sets down her glass with a delicate click. Her gaze swings toward me, and I recognize the glint in her eyes. She's about to perform. Bella is settled, she says, her tone dripping with manufactured concern. But what about you, Caroline? You're approaching 30. You can't plan to live with plants forever, can you? The table goes quiet. Even the catering staff refilling water glasses near the sideboard seem to freeze mid-pour. When is it your turn? Trinity asks. The question hangs in the air like smoke. I feel Preston's eyes flick toward me, then away. Harrison clears his throat but says nothing. Bella leans forward slightly, her expression arranged into something that might pass for sisterly interest if you didn't know her. But I do know her. I see the anticipation in the way her fingers curl around her wine stem. She's waiting for me to crumble to stammer, to make some excuse about focusing on my career or not having met the right person yet. I set down my silverware. The clink of metal on porcelain sounds louder than it should. I'm not single, Mother. The words come out calm, steady, like I'm commenting on the weather. Trinity blinks. Excuse me, I've been married for 8 months. My mother's face goes through 3 distinct expressions in the span of 2 seconds. Confusion, disbelief, rage, liar. The word explodes out of her mouth before she can stop it. Her hand slams down on the table, rattling the silverware. Why would no one know about this? You secretly eloped in Vegas, didn't you? Is that why you've been so distant? I didn't elope in Vegas. Bella's face has gone pale, but she recovers fast. She always does. Are you making up stories to ruin my engagement party? Her voice cracks, perfectly hitting that sweet spot between wounded and incredulous. You've always been jealous of me, Caroline, but this is pathetic even for you. She turns to Preston, her hand finding his arm. Can you believe this? But Preston is looking at me. His attorney's brain clearly running calculations I can't quite read. I sent invitations, I say. My voice hasn't changed pitch. I sound almost bored, which is strange because my heart is hammering against my ribs like it's trying to escape via FedEx overnight in February. My father's glass hits the table hard enough that bourbon sloshes over the rim. If you sent invitations and didn't get a reply, why didn't you call? His face is flushed, the vein in his temple pulsing. You did this on purpose, didn't you? To embarrass this family in front of the Starings. And there it is. The truth I've been circling around for 8 months, the answer I didn't want to see. Even as the evidence piled up around me like snow against a door, they didn't forget. They're gaslighting me. Right now in front of witnesses rewriting history while I sit here holding the receipts they don't know exist yet. The last thread of hope I've been clutching, the one I didn't even know I was still holding, dissolves. Something shifts inside my chest. The architect in me takes over. The part that knows how to read blueprints and calculate load-bearing walls and understand exactly where pressure needs to be applied for a structure to fail. I stop trying to defend myself with emotions. They don't care about my feelings. They never have. Under the table, hidden by the white linen, I slide my phone from my clutch. My thumb finds the message thread with Nate. I type one word. Now the message shows as delivered, then read. I put the phone away and pick up my fork again, spearing a piece of asparagus like nothing happened. Caroline, my mother's voice, has that dangerous quality to it now. The one that used to send me running to my childhood bedroom. Stop this nonsense and apologize to your sister. For what I take a bite of asparagus. It tastes like absolutely nothing. For getting married. For inviting my family to my wedding, which part needs an apology? Bella's eyes are bright with tears that haven't fallen yet. She's good at this, holding them right on the edge where they catch the light. I can't believe you'd lie about something like this. On Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. I'm not lying. Then prove it. My father snaps. I meet his eyes across the table. Okay. Harrison Sterling shifts in his seat, clearly wishing he was anywhere else. Preston has gone very still beside Bella, his lawyer instincts finally catching up to whatever his gut has been telling him. The chandelier above us catches on my wedding band. I've been wearing it this whole time. They never even noticed. Dessert will be ready in 15 minutes. One of the catering staff announces from the doorway, oblivious to the tension crackling through the room like static electricity. My phone buzzes once against my thigh. A text from Nate. System accessed. Ready when you are. Any night. I look up at the 85-inch smart TV mounted above the fireplace in the adjoining sitting area currently displaying a digital fire log that mirrors the real fire burning below it. Actually, I say, standing up from the table, I think we should skip dessert tonight. I walk toward the TV, my heels clicking against the hardwood floor. There's something everyone needs to see. Caroline, sit down. My mother's voice has taken on that edge. The one that used to make me shrink into myself, desperate to be smaller, quieter, less troublesome. Not tonight. I stop in front of the TV, my back to the room. You always believe Bella, unconditionally. My voice sounds strange to my own ears, calm, almost conversational. But have you forgotten what my husband does for a living, Silence? I turn to face them. Nathaniel Vance, senior cybersecurity analyst. He works for a firm that protects Fortune 500 companies from data breaches. Trinity's mouth opens, closes, opens again. I don't see what that has to do with anything, don't you? I pull my phone from my clutch, holding it up so they can see the screen. 3 letters, glow there. Now sent 18 minutes ago. Delivered. The TV screen behind me flickers. Bella's head snaps up. Her tears forgotten. What are you doing? The virtual fire log cuts out. The screen goes black for exactly 2 seconds. Then it lights up again, displaying something entirely different. A computer desktop, blue background, neat rows of folders. Remote access activated, appears in the corner in small white text. What is this? Richard's voice has gone hard. Turn that off. I designed the electrical system for this house. I keep my tone pleasant, almost chatty, like I'm discussing the weather. Did you know that you hired me fresh out of grad school, paid me an exposure and family discount rates? I installed every smart system, every camera, every sensor. I turn back to the screen, watching as the cursor moves without anyone touching it. Nate, working from our home office in Austin, his fingers flying across keys, 2,000 meters away. The admin password was never changed. I continue. I recommended you change it. Remember, I sent that email twice. Harrison Sterling leans forward, his expression caught between fascination and horror. Preston has gone very still beside Bella, his lawyer brain clearly working through implications. This is illegal. Bella's voice cracks. Not with tears this time. With panic. Actually, it's not. I don't look at her. I'm the system administrator on record. I have full legal access. Nate is simply helping me retrieve my own files. Trinity stands up, her chair scraping against the hardwood. Files. What files? The cursor on the screen moves to a folder. The label makes Bella gasp. Project. Truth. When you dismissed my career as playing with plants, I say quietly, you forgot I'm an architect. Architect's plan. We think 3 steps ahead. We build systems designed to last. My father's face has gone red. You had no right to put cameras in our home without telling us. I told you. My voice stays level. I gave you a 40-page manual. You signed off on everything. There's a camera at the front door, one at the side entrance, one covering the driveway, all disclosed, all legal, all recording to a professional NVR system in your wine cellar. What's an NVR system? Trinity's voice sounds smaller now. Network video recorder. I finally turn to look at her. It's not cloud storage that deletes after 6 months. It's physical hard drives. Professional-grade data retention for 2 years. I watch the color drain from Bella's face. She understands. She's already doing the math, counting backward through months. You're bluffing, she whispers. I turn back to the screen. The cursor hovers over the folder. Do you remember February 12th? Bella, I ask. My voice sounds almost gentle. It was a Tuesday. Cold. You were wearing your cream cashmere coat. The FedEx driver arrived at 10:15 a.m. Stop it! Bella's voice rises. Mom, make her stop. The package was blue. I continue. Express overnight. 4 velvet boxes inside wrapped in ivory ribbon. My wedding invitations. Preston's head turns toward Bella slowly, like he's seeing her for the first time. Turn it off, Bella screams. Mom, make her turn it off. But Trinity is frozen, her hands still pressed to her throat, her eyes locked on the screen. It's too late anyway. I hit enter on my phone. Nate, receiving the signal, opens the folder. The first image fills the screen in perfect high definition. A FedEx receipt signature line clearly visible. Isabella Montgomery signed in her distinctive looping handwriting. Date February 12th. Time 10:15 a.m. The dining room explodes into chaos. But I just stand there, my phone in my hand, watching my sister's carefully constructed world begin to crack, and I feel nothing but cold, clean satisfaction. That's my signature, Bella says immediately. Her voice has lost its hysterical edge, replaced by something flatter, more dangerous. So what I signed for a package that doesn't prove anything except that I was home that day. She's recovering faster than I expected. Evidence 1, I say, keeping my voice level. Clinical, like I'm presenting designs to a difficult client. You signed for a package from Caroline and Nate Vance on February 12th. 3 weeks after our wedding invitations were mailed via FedEx, overnight. I don't remember every package I signed for. Bella crosses her arms. We get deliveries constantly. My brand partnerships alone generate dozens of shipments per week. But Trinity sits up straighter. I can see her grasping at this explanation, wrapping her hands around it like a lifeline. That's true. Bella's business requires constant inventory management. She can't be expected to remember one random delivery from 8 months ago. Nate's cursor moves on the screen. The receipt disappears, replaced by a screenshot of an email inbox. My mother's email inbox. Evidence 2. I say. The screen shows Trinity's Gmail account settings. Filters. There's a long list of them, sorting newsletters and promotional emails into various folders, but one filter sits at the top of the list, marked with a red flag icon. Rule name wedding block. I read aloud. If subject contains wedding and Caroline, then delete permanently. Skip inbox. Do not archive. The creation date sits right there in gray text. February 14th, 2 days after the invitations were delivered. This filter was installed from an IP address that traces back to Bella's device. I continue. Her iPhone, specifically the same device she uses to manage her Instagram account. The silence that follows isn't peaceful. It's the silence of a trap snapping shut. Trinity's face has gone pale. That's not possible. I never authorized anything like that. Of course you didn't. I meet my mother's eyes. Bella has your password. She's had it for years. Remember when she set up your 2-factor authentication last Christmas? She told you it was for security. Preston stands up slowly from his chair. He's staring at Bella like he's seeing her for the first time. You hacked into your mother's email. I didn't hack anything. Bella's voice pitches higher. I have access because Mom asked me to help manage her correspondence. She gets overwhelmed by all the emails. I manage philanthropic contacts, Trinity says weakly. Charity board communications. Bella helps me organize them by deleting emails about your daughter's wedding. Harrison Sterling's voice cuts through the room. He's still sitting in his chair, but his posture has changed. He's no longer the uncomfortable observer. He's engaged now, focused. Bella stands abruptly. Her chair scrapes against the hardwood floor. Fine. Yes, I hid the invitations, but I did it to protect Mom and Dad. The room freezes. She's pivoting. I watch it happen in real time. The way her expression shifts from defensive to aggrieved. Her eyes fill with tears. Her voice shakes, but not with fear, with righteous indignation. You sent those invitations last minute, she continues, voice trembling, for some shabby vineyard in Texas. Dad has high blood pressure. Tree. Mom worries constantly about image, about what people think. I saw that location you chose, Caroline, that rustic barn aesthetic, and I was afraid. Afraid they'd be humiliated. Afraid they'd spend the whole trip stressing about appearances. She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. So yes, I hid them. I threw them away. I did it out of love. I was trying to protect our parents from embarrassment. Trinity inhales sharply. I watch her expression shift. See her reaching for this new narrative like a drowning person grabbing driftwood. You were protecting us. Of course I was. Bella's voice cracks. Caroline always does things her own way, never considering how it reflects on the family. I couldn't let you suffer through some subpar wedding just because she refuses to maintain our standards. It's brilliant in a horrible way. She's reframed herself from villain to hero in 30 seconds flat. The malicious act becomes protective sacrifice. The lie becomes love. Preston's frown deepens. He's not buying it. I can see the doubt written across his face the way his jaw tightens. But my parents are already softening, already finding the explanation they want to believe. I don't panic. I don't rage. I don't give Bella the satisfaction of seeing me unravel. Instead, I smile. It's a smile full of pity. The kind you give a child who's trying to convince you the dog ate their homework when you can see the torn pages in the trash protecting them. I repeat softly. That's your story. It's the truth. Bella lifts her chin. Then why I say each word deliberate? Did you throw the invitations in the recycling bin instead of hiding them in a drawer? Bella blinks. What if you were protecting Mom and Dad? If you were worried about their feelings, you would have hidden the invitations somewhere safe, somewhere you could retrieve them later if needed. You would have preserved them carefully just in case. Your plan went wrong. I gesture to the screen where Nate has already queued the next file. But you didn't do that, did you? Preston turns to look at Bella. Really, look at her, did you? I was upset, Bella says quickly. I wasn't thinking clearly. That's interesting, I say, because the video footage suggests you were thinking very clearly. I nod to the screen. Nate clicks play. The video quality is stunning. Crystal clear footage from the front door camera, the one mounted above the entrance with a perfect view of the porch and driveway. The timestamp reads February 12th, 10:14 a.m. The FedEx truck pulls into frame. The driver climbs out carrying a blue package. He rings the doorbell. Bella appears 30 seconds later. She's wearing yoga pants and a cropped hoodie, her hair in a high ponytail. She smiles at the driver signs. The tablet accepts the package. The driver leaves. Bella looks down at the package. I watch her, read the return address label. Caroline and Nate Vance. Her expression changes. The smile vanishes. Something cold and sharp takes its place. She doesn't look worried. She doesn't look protective. She looks furious. Bella glances around, checking if anyone's watching. Then she walks to the side of the house where the recycling bins sit behind a decorative lattice screen. She doesn't hesitate, doesn't pause, doesn't open the package to check the contents. She just hurls it into the bin like she's throwing out garbage. The 4 velvet boxes I'd wrapped so carefully, probably crushed on impact. The invitations I'd lettered by hand, likely bent and creased. She doesn't look back, just wipes her hands on her pants and walks inside. The video ends. The dining room stays silent. Even the fire in the hearth seems to hold its breath. Preston's face has gone blank. Carefully, deliberately blank. The expression of someone watching their entire future collapse. There's your protection, I say quietly. There's your love. The dining room holds its breath. I watch Preston's face cycle through expressions too fast to name. Confusion, realization, disgust. He stands so abruptly his chair scrapes against the hardwood floor. The sound sharp enough to make my mother flinch. You threw your sister's wedding invitations in the trash. His voice is quiet, which somehow makes it worse, because you were afraid of sharing the spotlight. Bella reaches for his arm. Preston, I can explain. He jerks away from her touch. You gave her a book about dying alone when you knew she was married. He's staring at Bella like he's seeing her for the first time. Maybe he is. I cannot marry a monster. The word hangs in the air. Monster. Bella's face crumples. You don't understand. She's always... But Preston is already moving. He pulls the engagement ring off her finger with such force. I'm surprised the band doesn't bend. The 3-carat diamond catches the chandelier light one last time before he places it on the table with a deliberate click that echoes like a gunshot. "We're done," he says. My mother surges to her feet. "Preston, don't be hasty. Bella made a mistake, but surely a mistake." Preston's laugh is harsh. "Mrs. Montgomery, your daughter committed male tampering. She sabotaged her own sister's wedding. She lied to my face. For 8 months. He shakes his head. I wanted to marry into a family with integrity. Clearly I was mistaken about what I'd find here." Harrison Sterling rises beside his son, his expression carved from granite. He turns to my father, who hasn't moved from his seat, whose face has gone the color of old newspaper. "Richard." Harrison's voice carries the weight of 40 years in business. "I've always believed that a man who cannot manage his household cannot manage a business, my father's." Bourbon glass pauses halfway to his mouth. "Your daughter is deceitful." Harrison gestures toward Bella. "Your wife enables her." He looks at my mother, whose mouth opens and closes soundlessly. "And you are irresponsible." His gaze settles back on my father. "The merger project next month. Consider it canceled. Sterling Group will not do business with the Montgomery family." The words land like physical blows. I watch my father's face drain of what little color remained. That merger was supposed to be his crowning achievement. The deal that would cement his legacy. $50 million in contracts. A partnership that would have doubled his company's reach. Gone. "Harrison, please." My father finally finds his voice. "We can discuss this privately." "Surely there's nothing to discuss." Harrison places his hand on Preston's shoulder. "We're leaving." Bella explodes from her chair. "This is your fault." She whirls on me, her face twisted with rage. "You ruined everything. I'll destroy you. I'll tell everyone what you did, how you manipulated." "No." The word comes out soft, but it stops her mid-sentence. I stand slowly, smoothing my dress. "You won't watch me." Bella's voice climbs toward hysteria. "I have 2 million followers. I know Massachusetts law prohibits secret audio recording." I keep my voice level conversational, so the video of tonight's dinner stays private. "I won't publish it." Bella's expression shifts toward triumph, thinking she's found an escape route. However, I pause, letting the words settle. "The CCTV footage of you dumping that FedEx package, that's evidence of federal mail tampering. Title 18, United States Code Section 1708, up to 5 years in federal prison." The color drains from Bella's face. "If you dare speak one lie about me on social media, that video and a lawsuit go straight to the police and your brand sponsors." I tilt my head, studying her. I wonder how Dior and Cartier will feel about their ambassador being investigated for federal crimes. Bella collapses back into her chair. The sound that comes out of her isn't quite a sob, isn't quite a scream. It's the sound of someone's carefully constructed world imploding. My mother sits frozen, her hands clutched in her lap. My father stares at the table like the wood grain holds answers. I reach for the cream-colored gift box, the one containing that horrible app membership and that cruel book that I put on the table. I pick it up with both hands and walk around the table. Bella flinches when I approach, like I might hit her. I place the box directly in front of her, right next to Preston's abandoned engagement ring. "Keep it," I say. "You need it more than I do now." The words taste like freedom. I turn toward the door. Harrison and Preston are already in the foyer collecting their coats. As I pass, he gives me a single nod. Respect maybe, or approval. It doesn't matter which. Behind me I hear my mother's voice, thin and desperate. "Caroline, wait. We can fix this." "We can." But I'm already walking through the foyer, past the marble staircase where Bella and I posed for Christmas photos as children, through the massive oak doors that closed behind me with a final definitive thud. The December air hits my face like cold water, clean, sharp, real. My Uber is waiting at the bottom of the circular drive exhaust, puffing white in the freezing air. I climb into the back seat, and the driver glances at me in the rearview mirror. "Logan Airport," I confirm. As we pull away, I allow myself one look back at the Montgomery estate. Every window blazes with light, but from here it looks empty, a beautiful shell with nothing living inside. I pull out my phone and video call Nate. His face fills the screen and the knot in my chest finally begins to unwind. His hair is messy like he's been running his hands through it. His eyes search mine. "Is it done?" he asks. "It's done. Mom's heating up soup for you." His smile is soft, warm, everything that house wasn't. "Let's go home." Home, not the place I was born, but the place where I'm loved. "Yeah," I say, and my voice only shakes a little. "Let's go home." 3 days later, I'm unpacking groceries in our Austin kitchen when the FedEx truck pulls up. Through the window, I watch the driver jog to the porch, scan a package, jog back. The box sits there on the welcome mat, square and flat. I know what it is before I open it. I can practically smell my father's desperation through the cardboard. Inside a check. $50,000. The number seems obscene, written in my father's careful architect's print. The note is brief, typed on his business letterhead, like this is just another transaction. "I'm sorry. Please stay silent about the contract." I stand there in my kitchen holding $50,000. And I think about the girl who would have cashed this check. The one who showed up on Christmas Eve still hoping. The one who saved their chairs at her wedding. She's gone. I tear the check in half. Then quarters. Then confetti. My phone is already in my hand. I arrange the pieces on the granite counter. Photograph them. Open the family group. Chat. 3 people. Mom, Dad. Bella. I type. I don't sell my silence. I'm gifting it to you for free as a parting gift. Do not contact me again. My thumb hovers over the send button for maybe 3 seconds. Then I press it. The message shows delivered. Then read. Someone starts typing, starts again. I don't wait to see what they'll say. I scroll to the top of the chat, tap the settings icon, and find the words I've been looking for. Leave group. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Leave. New Year's Eve arrives, wrapped in Seattle rain and the smell of Meredith's famous pot roast. Nate's family crowds into their living room, laughing, arguing about what movie to watch before the countdown. His sister steals the remote. His nephew spills grape juice on the carpet. His mother hugs me tight, and I feel the weight of the sapphire brooch on her coat pressing against my shoulder. Real solid and kind. Actual heirloom passed down with love instead of obligation. "Come on," Nate says, taking my hand. "Let's get some air before the fireworks." We step onto the back porch. The Space Needle glows in the distance, and the city hums with celebration. Nate wraps his arm around my waist, and I lean into him, breathing in rain and cedar and freedom. "Any regrets?" he asks quietly. I think about the empty chairs, the hidden invitations, the cruel gift, the check, torn into pieces. Not one. The first firework explodes overhead. Gold sparks against black sky. Nate's family cheers from inside, and through the window I can see them raising glasses, pulling each other into hugs. I'm not the Montgomery daughter anymore. I'm Caroline Vance, architect of landscapes, and now finally architect of my own life. I cleared the weeds. I burned out the rot.